Mm. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a really long time and I've been trying to make this video for some time now. And today I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna try my very best to just really um, just get it done. My leave out is just not working with me. So, you're probably wondering like, what's up with my hair? It is what it is, guys. We're family, right? um, So, today's topic is envy and jealousy. This is one of my most interesting, this is, I won't say it's one of my most interesting topics. It's something that I've become increasingly interested in the past, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks, typically, mostly because it has come up in a lot of spaces where I notice people are talking about different situations that they've been in that were not ending in their favor. People are talking about how a lot of people around me are trying to understand why people behave and act in a certain kind of way, why people are trying to one up each other. And I think that it is something that I am always fascinated about in myself because I tend to be under the illusion a lot of the times that I am not envious or jealous of anyone. But when it comes to certain things, we're having a real moment with each other, okay, guys? So bear with me. When it comes to certain things like academia or athleticism, I sometimes look at other people and think, yeah, I wish I could be like that. Or, yeah, I want to have a six pack. Or, I want to have that amount of stamina or that amount of ability. But I probably am never going to be at that space because the kind of dedication um, that is required to be that type of person is something that I think that I personally just don't have. And it's okay. But in the moment where I'm experiencing extreme levels of, not extreme, I hope it's not extreme, but a level of dissatisfaction within myself in comparison to the people that I'm looking at, I'm often very taken aback by what my thought process is. And I know that self reflection is a really big part of being able to not actually have to act negatively. And we're going to discuss that right now. So bear with me towards others when it comes to comparing yourself to them and their ability versus yours. Now, when you are looking at someone and maybe look, let's give a quick disclaimer here, okay? Hang on a second. All right. I don't know if that made things worse or better. I look like kind of like Darth Vader, where the light's just coming down on me, like dun, dun, dun. Um, when you're actually trying to develop yourself as a person, there there are going to be people that are going to speak up to and against, in favor of or against whatever it is you're trying to do. And I feel like when we talk about envy and jealousy, they're each other's ugly cousin, right? So you can be jealous of someone and just be like, throwing shade or maybe making a face or maybe just shaking your head and saying that that person just doesn't know what they're talking about and trying to like badmouth or bad talk them. But I think envy takes it a step further. And women are particularly good at this because they are active in acting on their jealousy against others, particularly other women, sadly enough. And I've noticed that in certain spaces, particularly since I've been talking to a lot of people about this topic very recently, is when somebody actively tries to sabotage you because they are threatened by you in some way. You have something that they want, right? That's the jealousy part. But then the envy part is the need, almost like an impulsion, to act on that jealousy by doing something to discredit or sabotage that person in some way. And I find that this is something that we are all capable of doing. I don't want anybody to feel like I have not done this. I don't want anybody to feel like you're the exception, you're the victim of, but not the perpetrator of said actions. But really take into account what exactly is to be gained from those actions. And I want to talk a little bit about what you can gain from that or what can be the result of that. If we look at the movie Mean Girls, right, where the two where the two girls basically struggle to be in the same status symbol, or the same like of the same status symbol some way or form. One of the girls has an intention to date the same guy. Now, I don't want to spoil it for y'all. Y'all could go watch the movie if you want, but basically what ends up happening is that the one that is her only intention is just to get the boyfriend gets caught up in other people. Basically what ends up happening is that when you start to act on your own envious actions, and it sort of have it starts to almost have like a snowball effect where you're putting an action in place to actually put that person down or sabotage that person, whether you may feel they are deserving of it or not. It is a telltale sign of your own character, and something that will also come back to haunt you, because when if you do it alone, or if you enroll other people in your sabotaging actions, you can run the risk of being seen as someone of very poor character. Um, the best way to handle these kinds of situations for yourself is a mantra that I preach on this channel for eons, is self-awareness. Self-awareness is one of the biggest tools that you can use to avoid acting out on envy and jealousy. And number two, which comes out of self-awareness, is to really look at yourself and figure out exactly what it is your race is. Stay in your lane. There's always going to be somebody better. There's always going to be somebody prettier, richer, more athletic, more academic than you. We just cannot be all of the things in life all the time. And that's okay. Stay in your lane, run your race, and stay happy, and be happy with what it is you have. Of course, competition is a great goalpost to measure up and see exactly where you are in the race, but you don't want to make that your life's identity, right? Because once you start to get caught up in looking at what other people have and trying to act out what other people have, it really internalizes a deep sense of unhappiness and dissatisfaction and anxiety within yourself. And who wants to live like that, right? So I believe that to avoid becoming that envious person, or experiencing envy in some kind of maybe unconscious way, really, I'm not gonna judge and say that you knew what you were doing when you started spreading those rumors about how Keisha had BBL when she actually was just going to the gym. I'm not gonna say that that's what happened. That's just a hypothetical situation, y'all. I just made that up out of the top of my head. That if the shoe fits, well, here's what you do. Take a step back and figure out exactly why it is that you felt compelled to do something like that. And out of that, make sure that it is a growth experience for you to understand that not everything is for you. And in that, be okay with who you are, and really recognize what is it about this situation that triggered you to bring out the worst in yourself. Now, I'm now going to talk about people who are um, victims of envy and jealousy, because of course it can happen. Sometimes we are the ones who experience these situations in our own lives. What is it that you want to do or get out of a situation that happens like that? The first thing you want to do is to recognize what this is doing to you, whether it be something that is physically happening, whether it's something that is emotionally happening to you. How is this affecting you? Second of all, I want you to really look at what it is you can do to empower yourself in this situation. Maybe um, you have a relationship with someone that somebody is jealous of. Maybe you have a certain status or a certain level of accomplishment that people might be jealous of. I don't like to tell people to downplay themselves we have an expression in our household called Josephina. Now, if you know the story in the Bible, Joseph gets the coat of many colors, and he's flashing and flaunting that like in his brother's face. And that lead them to act on their jealousy for him by putting him in a hole and selling him off into slavery. I use that because it's a story that everybody knows of, right? So he kind of should have been a little bit more aware that his brothers were jealous of him. and not really rub it in their face. I don't want to tell you to not shine and not show your best self or to be your best self, but I want you to be very much aware of how you share your successes and with whom you share the successes, because not everybody that you're sharing yourself with is going to be happy for you. You've heard that many of times, right? That um, crabs in a barrel always pull each other down. Now, if you are having success, you have to be also practicing self awareness as to who it is you are sharing your successes with. This is very important for us to understand people's intentions when we're spending time with them. And a level of self awareness will allow ourselves to actually be able um, to be discerning about the type of people that we're spending time with and what their intentions are for us. I would not recommend people who have experienced envy with people in the workspace and in relationships to actually confront those people. Those because simply because those people are generally very volatile and do not like to be confronted. A confrontation can lead to more aggression and more manipulation, and can allow you to be put in a situation where you feel like you're defending yourself, and those people deflect and sometimes even gaslight you into thinking that the situation is not happening in order to make you look like the bad guy. For me, I would actually just start to slowly distance myself in a non confrontational way with these people and always make them the center of attention so that they can tell and let everybody else know what type of person they are, so that they are able to feel like they're the important person that they think they need to be. So, the third thing I would do, and this is a little bit of a tricky one, is to acknowledge your participation in your own demise. Now, people are envious and jealous of you because you allow them in your space to know things that you allow them to know things about you that you know or should know are going to make them jealous and envious. Now, if you don't know what those things are, it is time to familiarize yourself with those things and people, and to recognize that the responsibility of having something that somebody else wants is not to downplay it and to really make sure that nobody that you're not shining, that you're not celebrating yourself. Your responsibility is to know where those landmines lie and to make sure that you are not in that space, but you are in a space with people who celebrate and uplift you. So, bottom line, stay clear away from them, and make sure that you have as little as possible people like that in your life. You're celebrating with the people that you know that are genuinely enthusiastic about your success, and are on the same level with you. And while understanding that it is okay for you to have all of the things that have been gifted to you in this life. And you should never ever apologize to anyone who feels like they should always also have, but haven't done the work. Circumstances have not allowed them to. Let's take a simple thing like beauty. You might be prettier than another person that you know, and or thinner than a person that you know. And okay, if you're thin and they're not, they can do something about that to a degree and extent, right? But if you are prettier than somebody else, there's no amount of telling them. Everybody has their tribe, everybody has the people that find them attractive. There's no amount of telling them that is going to help their situation. What you have to do is to respectfully distance yourself from that person, because your good looks may or may not be something that you have any real control over. Of course, if you got them naturally, then you don't have any control over that. And we live in a day and age where you do have control over that. So they could probably change their looks to maybe look more like you. I'm not going to go single white female on everybody, but I'm just going to say that that's not all, that also is not going to make them happy. So even if they are trying to get on the way to be more like you, it's not going to make them happy, because the problem that they have is with themselves. And the best you can do is to slowly separate yourself from these people altogether. So that is my hot take for the week. I hope that you guys are having a great Friday. Please, I'm going to see you in the next one. Stay safe and stay free, and tip your waiters.